Hello guys, welcome to my channel. It's time of the year again. Can you believe it? Time flies. I know some of you are thinking about how you will decorate your Christmas tree. Now let me share some tips and my experiences and things to consider when decorating a Christmas tree. As soon as I started seeing Christmas trees in the stores, so that gives me a signal that I need to start planning and think about the theme that I want to do for the year. So before, I used to switch colors and ribbons every year, but I stopped doing that lately because I slowly ran into storage issues. So over time, I've collected a lot of ornaments, and my storage bins of decoration slowly piled up. And I have to go through all of that every year and put it back when I am done decorating. So it is a lot of work, if you can imagine. Also, over the years, I came to a point that I started to have favorite colors and pieces that I wanted to use over and over every year. And that ended up not being able to use some of my decoration and just sitting and collecting dust and occupying space. So another thing about changing color, it's not practical. I have to buy a couple of ribbons and ornaments here and there. So now I am using fewer colors that are timeless, like red, silver, champagne gold, or white. So changing colors and design every year is fun and exciting, and thinking what it will turn out, but it's really expensive. Now let's talk about artificial versus fresh Christmas tree. I love fresh tree. I had it a couple of times. It smells so good, and it's kind of nice to go around the store and pick your tree as a family. It's easy to clean up, and you can just throw it away or recycle it after the holiday season. Also, it's a great way to help your local community, but personally, I prefer using the artificial tree. I love to put more ornaments and combine different shapes, textures, and sizes on my tree. Some of the tips of the fresh tree are soft, because maybe I'm buying the cheap tree, so it won't hold many ornaments. But if I get a big and full tree, it's so expensive, so normally it ranges from $60 to $100 plus, depending on the size. Also, sometimes I'm rearranging my ornaments, and fresh tree sheds if you constantly move things around, and just by doing nothing, it's naturally shed, so it's kind of messy. Not to mention not safe if it wasn't taken care of properly and need to water from time to time. It can also bring home some allergens, and lastly, it's hard to put up. Most people use a fresh tree. They want to showcase the beauty of the tree and keep the natural look by putting less ornaments. But if you use fresh tree, don't forget to check the water frequently, because sometimes it can cause fire, or it can easily engulf in fire if it's really dry. On the other hand, artificial tree is safer to use and easy to assemble. It's also cheaper in the long run. You can use it from 7 to 10 years. So our tree is 8 years old, and I'm still enjoying it. Since it's fake, you have an option to decorate early if you wanted to. Or if you're not in the mood to clean it up, you can keep it until February. But no kidding, I've seen some people keeping their Christmas tree all year round. So you can put more ornaments, especially the heavy one, and I don't have to water. Fake tree is really easy to assemble, but the downside is it's really hard to put it away, especially when you bluff your tree. So if you're putting in a bag, it doesn't matter. But if you are putting it in a box, it won't fit. You have to unpluff, and also you have to think about your storage space. Also, the bigger the tree, the bigger the space you need for storage. Okay, now let's move on to unlit and pre-lit Christmas tree. So I love pre-lit Christmas tree because it's convenient, but sometimes the light goes out sooner than expected. So most of the time it came with the spare bulbs, but I don't bother fixing it. Mostly people don't fix it because it's like finding needle in a haystack. So that's the reason why I prefer the unlit tree. So yes, it's a little bit of work, but if the light die, I don't have to change the whole thing. Also, technology changed fast. Notice the Christmas tree light bulb was bigger back then became smaller and smaller. Today, the latest Christmas light is the micro dot, or other people use fairy lights for the twinkling effect. But the bottom line is I'm not stuck and I have an option to use the light that I want. Now let's talk about the size of the Christmas tree. So the bigger the tree, the more expensive it is. So because everything is more. So you have to buy more ornaments, you need a bigger space, it's harder to clean up, but I love big tree, so who doesn't? So it's grand and beautiful. So when you're buying a tree, you have to consider your space. So you don't want to buy a big tree if you have a small space. It will be so cramped. If you want a big tree but you don't have much space, you may want to consider the pencil design because of its narrow design. So for ribbons and ornaments, I love big ornaments, especially the big balls. Sometimes I cluster them together. It looks cleaner and neat. So some shade of color of ornaments gets outdated, so I stick to timeless color so I can easily match with other, especially if you prefer changing theme every year. So I love investing into branches or faux flowers, so it gives fullness and texture to your tree. I also mix and match different sizes and textures. As for ribbons, mix and match the plain, textured, and printed depending on your theme or look that you want to achieve. I don't use much ribbons because I can put a lot of ornaments, but if you're saving money, ribbons is a good filler, especially if you have more spots to fill in. You can put it horizontally or vertically depending how you want it. So I preferred it vertically because it gives a high ceiling illusion. Moving on to tree topper and tree skirt. So this is a personal preference. People use angel, star, branches, glitter flowers, and ribbons. So for me, I preferred using long glittered flowers, leaves, and branches with a little bit of ribbon. So using long materials, it creates an illusion that I have a taller tree because it extended the height of my tree. And then I finish up my tree with a skirt. So this is a great way to tone down and hide the wire underneath and the base or stand of your tree. Few more tips. Like what I said earlier, you have to plan what kind of look do you want to achieve. So this will guide you and give you direction as you shop and to avoid unnecessary expenses and double buying by knowing what you have. If you're decorating your tree and you're using the Christmas lights, please match your wire to your tree. Don't use white wire over a green tree. Then start with putting your Christmas lights first. But make sure to test it first to make sure all of the lights are working. It will be difficult to do if you already put on all your decorations. If you are using an artificial tree, plop your tree to make it look full and real. Don't be scared, play around the branches. It is time consuming, but it will make a lot of difference on your tree. You can also add some more pine branches as fillers to make it even fuller. So when hanging ornaments, start with the biggest one, then use smaller ornaments as fillers on some bare spots. And lastly, make sure to distribute your decorations evenly. That's it, guys. Hopefully this video helps you and you can get some ideas for your Christmas tree decorating. Thank you for watching and listening. Until next time. Bye, guys.